What's up, everybody? This is the Canes Inside Podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Happy to be back. I'm actually in London right now. I was in Greece for a wedding. I'm in the middle of a connection, but I wanted to catch you guys while I could. It is probably 3 a.m. over in America on the East Coast, but we're having fun here because the Florida State Seminoles just took a massive defeat to the Virginia Cavaliers, exposing themselves to be what we knew they were, which was an under-talented, mediocre squad with a coach that will take them nowhere. But still got to play them next week. Still got to get up. It's like I said in the preseason podcast. We treat this one like a trap game. And it is a trap game. It's still a very dangerous game. But I think what we've learned with this game here against Virginia, something we already knew, I think, which is that FSU, they're not very good. They don't have a lot of talent. Their head coach is a bum. They're a dead program. But, you know, they can get the dead cat bounce. We got to be careful. So let's go to the box score here as we look at this. The Virginia Cavaliers in double OT beating the Florida State Seminoles. But some stats that really caught my attention when you look at this. Rushing yards for Virginia, 211 rushing yards against that Florida State front. Turnovers were even. This was a spooky game in Charlottesville, but it wasn't a game where FSU just threw the game away. 3 turnovers for FSU, 3 turnovers for Virginia. So even there. And really, FSU was pretty lucky on 4th down, converting 3 out of 5, some of them very difficult 4th down conversions. But the running game, that's something that you can take something from. Virginia ran for 211 rushing yards against the Seminoles. That, to me, is glaring, given that Miami is the more powerful running game, the better running game. Well, we got a ton of comments. I'm surprised here. Well, look at this, man. As we are here live in the middle of the night in the United States, we got international people showing up and our late birds. PJ says they got to deal with a better defense coming up this week. That's absolutely right. Xavier Grant, that FSU defense looks suspect. Jacob saying, I feel like we push him around. I agree. IMAX, are you live? We're live, baby. Blue saying FSU frauds. They're who we thought they'd be. Martin Dubé, we're on your side of the world, baby. Good morning. Appreciate you. Jalen saying, I guess nobody sleeps, man. Glad you're awake. Yeah, Jevin said, back on the job. I'm glad to be on the job. Canes Cat, glad to see you again. I missed you guys, man. I missed you. The internet was slow. I tried to get on a million times, never worked. So I figured we'd do it right here. And we're going to be doing a ton of shows this week as we get ready for FSU. K Mills, yeah, we're up. George Cherry saying FSU on offensive line or defensive line are small and underweight. That's one of my big takeaways. You know, right there is just from the visual as we go over the stats, like I mentioned, the rushing yards, sacks. FSU only had 2 sacks on the day. Even though you look at Virginia threw the ball, 36 times. So Virginia was throwing the football, and it was the lower time game. FSU only had 2 sacks, both for number 27, a safety. So the pass rush, abysmal. The run defense, abysmal. I thought the most glaring thing was just FSU's defense has absolutely no violence or fight at all. I mean, they were not tackling well. Earl Little got run over in the hole in a major fashion on that touchdown run, just got completely steamrolled. I thought overall the defense looked listless. They did not tackle. They did not run to the ball. They did not swarm. Now, I will say this. It's going to be a different game emotionally on Saturday when Miami plays FSU. They will be at home. It'll be Miami's first road game. So I think that's going to be kind of the key from the Miami side, is just matching and really exceeding FSU's intensity. Because FSU, I think, they got caught in that situation this week where it was Friday. They were playing Virginia. Virginia was extremely motivated. You saw that field rush. That was a dangerous situation. I'm just glad no one got hurt, because I've never seen a faster field rush than that. But FSU is going to be at home. So they're going to be the emotional one. They're going to have the energized crowd. But I think the crowd's going to be a little maybe down on Norvell, kind of saying like, man, I guess we thought we were good for a week and now we realize we suck again. But still, they'll be live at first. So emotionally, it's going to be a totally different game than we saw here for FSU against Virginia. But I will restate, the lack of intensity and physicality in FSU's defense was jarring to me after watching Miami for four games. I mentioned Virginia ran for over 200 plus yards. That was with 3 3 backup offensive linemen. So 3 starting offensive linemen were injured. Look, by the way, Miami, everybody deals with injuries. Miami has the good fortune of having the absolute best team in America with UHealth and the Sports Medicine Institute at the University of Miami. You consider yourself an athlete or just an active guy like myself. I've been out of the game a little bit here on this vacation. I need to get back in it when I get back to Miami. Probably know how hard it is to sit on the injured list with pain or injury. Maybe you can try to hack your own rehab, get back early. But if compromising your movement or performance is not an option, call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether it's elite competition with the University of Miami Athletics or just everyday movement, getting around. You know, you're in an airport, you're in a plane for however many hours you're sore. University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. All right, back to some of your questions. Jacob saying, yeah, they had a big injury list. Their center's their best player, and they were out. He was out. Sam says, I don't care about emotion of the crowd. Look at the football players. Miami's bigger, faster, stronger, better in all facets. No question about it. FSU, and we said this. I was talking to Mike, and shout out to Mike Ryan. He's been on fire with his picks this week, this season, and he had Virginia pulling the upset. And I think the issue with FSU is they didn't have good players last year, and the players they had that were talented left. So they lost their secondary, Isaiah Thomas, a couple other guys that were very talented players left. Defensive line, Josh Farmer, left. NFL player at defensive tackle. Marvin Jones, who's now starting for an Oklahoma defense that is far superior to what FSU has, left. Patrick Payton, starting for an LSU defense, far superior to what FSU has, left. They lost linebackers. They lost a lot of players on the defensive side of the football and did not replace them with talent. So you have a team that, in my view, is just extremely under-talented last year, lost a lot of guys, and they didn't really find impactful replacements. The one transfer they did get that is legit, I would say Deuce Robinson looked very, very good, looked better than he did last year at USC. Big receiver, obviously, but I saw some twitch. I saw some suddenness. You'd compare him, at least I would compare him to what Notre Dame had with Malachi Fields, Jaden Greathouse, but I actually think he looks better than those guys based on what I saw in this game, what I've seen so far this season. He's really worked hard. He sees that opportunity with FSU to be the guy, and he's going to be a tough guy to cover. Now, University of Miami has a guy named Xavier Lucas, who himself is over 200 pounds, 6'1". We got Damari Brown, also, I believe, over 200 pounds. OJ Frederick, bigger player. So we have size. I think we match up better with big receivers personally than with smaller, quicker guys. So I think Deuce Robinson, even though he is a very good player, and that's going to be the guy you got to stop, I think that's a good matchup for Miami with our big corners, just like it was against Notre Dame, and they didn't do anything. Sam says, Deuce Robinson got tired and sloppy, dropped the money ball. Not his fault the other receivers aren't getting open. Yeah, the receivers didn't do anything to impress. Really, one thing that caught my attention was if you watch that game against Alabama, FSU hit him with a lot of big plays, a lot of perimeter runs, got their speedy guys like Danzy, Squirrel White, those guys on the perimeter. I didn't see that with this game against Virginia. Most of FSU's damage, and FSU did run for a ton of yards. So in this game, FSU ran for about 256 yards. That's a lot. Really 514 total yards. They moved the ball against Virginia's defense. A lot of it was in between the tackles. And I think if you look at Miami with how much physically superior, how physically superior we are up front, that's not a place where I expect FSU to do damage. I'm more worried about them hitting those big plays just because it takes one play with their speed. I didn't see that in this game. You saw it a lot in the Alabama game. Miami needs to do what Virginia did to take away those perimeter runs, those jet sweeps, those big downfield plays to the speedier receivers. Deuce Robinson, you got to deal with. You just got to play the ball. You got to be physical. But some of these other big plays, Virginia did a good job of taking those away. Got 514 yards. Not like they did a ton to stop FSU, but I didn't see a game plan from FSU, or at least a method of attack by FSU that is going to translate well against bigger, faster, stronger, more physical players at the University of Miami. What I like to do with this game is compare what FSU or what Virginia did against FSU to what Virginia did against NC State, because Virginia's really played two real teams. NC State, who they lost to, with CJ Bailey playing a very, very good game. FSU, who they defeated. And one thing I noticed, Virginia got more sacks against FSU than they did against NC State. They got 2 against Castellanos, got a lot of pressure again, a lot of fourth down situations that he was under pressure. They didn't get to CJ Bailey once. 0 sacks against North Carolina State. So if you're Miami, with your far superior offensive line, in my opinion, the best offensive line in America, I think you're going to have a tough time getting to Carson Beck, but that's going to be one of the stories of the game. Can they do it? They did it with blitzes in this game against UVA when FSU was on defense. And then offensively, the UVA was able to get to Castellanos. You deal with Ruben Bain. You're dealing with Akeem Mesidor. I just think on both sides of the ball, the pass blocking of FSU and the pass rush of FSU are going to have a much tougher time than they did against Virginia. And Virginia really, to me, won both of those battles in this ball game. Jacob talking about Keontae Scott and Jacoby Thomas will be key as far as spying against Tommy Castellanos. I could see that. Papa Sauce asking, what are the tackles going to do all night against Bain and Mesidor? They're going to have a tough time. Gunnar Hansen, FSU's left tackle. I saw this guy in high school. I saw him when he was 17 in camp. I watched his whole career at Vanderbilt because he's a South Florida guy. Solid player for like that Vanderbilt level. You go against a Ruben Bain or Mesidor, he is going to be extremely overwhelmed from a power standpoint. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. But again, I think if we match the energy, if we match the physicality, this could be a big win for the Hurricanes. The line is light. I think the early line is 4.5. So Vegas is definitely baking in. These guys are going to be motivated coming off a loss. They're going to be at home. Maybe Miami's looking down on these guys. We've seen this in college football all the time with these rivalry games. I get the trend part of it. But look, the trends favored Florida, and they got blown out at the end of the day, even after keeping it close for a second. So we'll see how it all plays out. I think if Miami comes out strong, plays with physicality, this is a team that could quit because I think the fans know that Norvell's a fraud after seeing this performance. They lied to themselves. They convinced themselves that this team was heading in the right direction. But the bottom line is they just don't have good players. Period, point blank. They don't have good players. They're a middling team. And from a talent standpoint, Malzahn, he's the book's out on him. You just got to avoid those big plays, match the energy, avoid anything crazy from a turnover standpoint. And I think you're going to just run over this team from a physical standpoint. But it's college football. No guarantee you're going to match the energy. No guarantee you're going to avoid those big plays. No guarantee you're going to avoid the turnovers. Rivalry game on the road. We've seen the story a million times. But again, I said the same thing as UF. And after 4 quarters of football, eventually the far superior team won by 3 scores. And I do think if you compare talent to talent, Florida, which I don't think is that talented, is a significantly more talented team than Florida State. I think Florida State's talent is in the middle of the ACC. I mean, they're nothing at all to me, other than Deuce Robinson and some speed with their guys like Danzy with Squirrel White. And again, those are not complete receivers in their own right. So we'll see. By the way, you want to play some games, kill time until Saturday. I know it's going to be a long week waiting for this big game. Bye week. You're spending a lot of time on CanesInsight.com, I'm sure, but you're also probably trying to kill time while you're walking around. Download the CashKick.com app right there on your phone. One of the top apps in the country, 4.5 plus average rating in the ratings department, over 1.5 million downloads. It's the number 4 lifestyle app right above Pinterest, so it's a mainstream deal. What it does, you download the app, you get all kinds of games available, whatever kind of game you like to play on your phone, whether it's a sporting type game, a card game, a more in-depth like RPG type game, you name it, just a simple fun game. They have it on KashKick, so all the games are together, so you don't have to go finding each game. Go to KashKick, all the games together. And the best part is you can make extra money while you are playing. That is real. This is not a gimmick. That is the absolute real deal. KashKick, that's KashKick. Download the app, make some extra money while you are playing games, and have fun, man. It's a lot of time between now and FSU. You're going to be waiting in line at the carpool line for your kids, waiting in the dentist's office, or just trying to hide from your boss at work. When you're not on CanesInsight.com, KashKick on the app, play some games, have some fun. Roger Allen saying FSU will fall to 18th in the poll. Yeah, there'll be a fall, but I think at the end of the day, it's a rivalry game. If Miami's not up for that, they're not going to be up for anything. K Mill says Mark Fletcher legacy game incoming. Mark Fletcher is more bigger, more physical than anybody on FSU's defense. I didn't see one physical presence on that defense. I expect some highlights. Burrow Little wants to meet Mark Fletcher in the hole like he did it with Virginia, and he got run over. He might not make it to the next week. So if Miami plays hard, Matt meets them emotionally, plays physical, limits those big explosive plays that are not in the normal flow of the offense. Those sweeps, maybe some of the trick plays that that Malzahn's going to bust out for a game like this. You can just limit the damage from those, protect the ball, which you're not going to get a great pass rush anyways. I think Miami's going to be in very, very good shape in this game. Seeing Florida State, just seeing their lack of talent. So want to do a quick one here with quick thoughts, but that's my big takeaway is they are who we thought they were. I know Canes fans knew these guys were garbage. The media tried to lie to you, tell you otherwise, just like they did with Clemson, just like they did with Florida. These guys are bums. Miami's to take care of business on Saturday, run them over, and then hopefully they win the rest of their games so Norvell could stay. Maybe not the rest of their games. Let them go, 8-4. Keep Norvell around. We like how that roster looks. Appreciate you joining us. I'm going to do a ton of shows this week now that I'm back in the States here in a few hours. Go Canes.